We have money that's set aside for these eventualities that we didn't anticipate. And it seems to me that if we don't do that, because that's just common good business practices, then we're really missing the boat and we're going to be behind the power curve all the way. So we need to look at finding some way to generate additional revenue and put it aside for those times when we get these unexpected expenses. That was a great question.
Thank you. Mark.
Tom, thanks for your question. I'm going to give you a three-part answer. One, not to pass blame, but give blame where blame is due. State legislature needs to govern this thing and get their hands on it. As you probably know from having asked the question, in good years, and when the returns exceed the requirements in the pension plan, they skim, and it goes in the general fund. That's great. There's been a couple of years where the portfolio hasn't performed, and so now they're coming back on local municipalities like Londonderry. The town side is $525,000. I'm not sure that I've seen the school number, but I'm sure it's comparable, maybe a bit more because they've got more employees that would be eligible. The good news in that is there's an election in November, and we're going to elect 9 state reps and a state senator, and that's a question we need to be asking all the candidates, you know, when they run for those offices. The second answer to the question is economic development, and I know we're banging the drum here. There's not a business in the land that's going to succeed unless you retain customers you have and attract new customers. Doesn't matter the business, and it applies to government as well. So I've got some very detailed questions I will ask in my remaining meetings as a counselor, and certainly as a budget committee member if I'm elected. For example, how many days a week is our economic development staff spending in Massachusetts attracting businesses to New Hampshire? I know the answer to that right now. It's 0. If we're not out there actively marketing, as some of the other candidates have suggested, we're not going to. Business is not going to come to us. Business doesn't come to me in my real estate practice. It doesn't come to Deb's company, or to Tom's business, or to Don's. You have to go out and get it. We're going to have to be very proactive in economic development if we're expecting business to be attracted to Londonderry. We've got a great story to tell. I don't think we're necessarily proactive in telling the story. And lastly, and more directly to your question, it's going to be headcount. I've said this over the last several years. I'm saying it again today. When 80+% of the school budget and the town budget is headcount, payroll related, including pensions, then $1 million is a lot of money, and that's where we're going to have to go for it. I don't like the idea of layoffs or reductions in headcount, and ideally we'll deal with vacancies. We'll be able to time hiring of police officers and firefighters, both of which take at least a year in the making, with the testing, the physicals, going through the academy, respective academies and so on. Some of that can be planned and managed, but clearly and unfortunately we're probably going to have little choice but to look at headcount. Thanks for your question.
All right, thank you. And that does wrap up our Budget Committee part of the forum. One thing people should realize is that the Budget Committee is an advisory committee. That means that it essentially advises on the budgets for the school board and for the town council. But the most important thing that people will see at the bottom of every warrant, I believe, is the decision that the Budget Committee comes to on each of those warrants, you know, whether they voted for or against, whether it was a split. That's a very, very important number because it gives people a feeling for how someone outside of the running of and the policy section of the government actually feels about each particular warrant article. So it's important. The Budget Committee is a good balance to have in this town. And I wish you, the 3 of you, good luck in this, or the 4 of you. And Deb, you're already in, so we appreciate what you're willing to bring to the table for us. I want to thank you all again. I'd like to thank the press for coming and asking their questions on this part of the session, and for the public that rose up to attend today. We'll take about a 10-minute break, and then we'll go into our 2 gentlemen who are running unopposed for the school board. So let's take that. Thank you again. Thank you.